Hello guys, how are you? Hope you're fine. I'm fine too. Uh, Today I want to talk about women allowing men to be. Of late, uh, even with the empowerment of women, women have been complaining that their men are not doing what they ought to do, that they are incapable, right, of performing their roles, right? They are complaining about fathers, right, not being there for them probably, or not being as they expect them to be. But also, probably, we have got to understand that if something has got to be, most often than not, we need to allow it to be. Like, for example, a man will not be your husband and perform the role of a husband in the household unless you are allowing the man to be the husband of the house, right? Even so, the father will not necessarily act as your father unless you are allowing them to act as your father, right? Like, what am I saying? Right, so I'm talking about allowing or recognizing the men, whether in the category of fathers, like you recognize the father, the man who is your father, as your father, so he becomes your father, right? You recognize the man who is your husband as being your husband, so then he becomes your husband, right? So the recognition or the allowance to be gives the power to be, right? So like as a woman, if you're saying that he is your husband, then by declaring that that man is my husband, you are now giving power to that situation, right? You are giving power that he might be your husband. Otherwise, if you're just saying that he's not being your husband and you are not allowing him to be, you are not granting him chance to be your husband, then how is he your husband? How is he supposed to play the role of the husband to you or in the household if you are not allowing the chance for him to be that husband that you require, right? If you deserve someone to be your father, right, or play the role of a father to you, right, whether it's a biological father or a father that is, you have got to recognize them first as being your father. It is not just something that will come about. It is the child that recognizes the father to be the father, right? Like, he could be your father biologically, of course, but if you are denying that man the chance of being your father, if you are not recognizing that man as being your father, then it is as well as saying he's not your father, right? Or he will not be able to play the role of the father to you, though he might actually be your biological father, or he might actually be your father, but he might not be in that role, or he might not actually be being your father, right? So it is by the recognition of the man, so that he might be in the role that you desire or require him to be in. In another way, also probably, most often we are stepping into the place of the role that we require be played, and then blaming the one that ought to be in the role that they are not in the role. Like, for example, if you are not moving from the place of your father to be your father, and you're occupying all that space, right? You are not being in the place of the child or of the son or the daughter and allowing for the place of the father, then it goes without saying that you're not recognizing that man as your father. Hence, he will not be able to play the role of your father in your life or in that place, right? In the same case, if you're not allowing space for your husband to be as a woman, then it goes without saying that that husband is not in the place to be your husband, right? Because you're occupying the place that he ought to be in, right? So, for example, as a woman, if you are doing all the responsibilities, right, you are buying everything for your children, right, you are taking care of your children, you don't need help, right? You are going out there working, right? You are not allowing any chance for your husband to go out and look for provision or go to work, right? And then you are there accusing your husband of not being a husband in the household, right? So what do you expect him to do? If you're not allowing him chance to be husband in that household, then what do you expect? You see, the marriage is built or supported by the two of you, the role of the wife and the role of the husband. And the two of you need to be in agreement, right? And not to be invading other people's role. So the husband needs to be the husband and not the wife. And the wife needs to be the wife and not the husband. But you see nowadays, women want to be the husband and the wife. Right? They don't want to hear the man providing anything, right? They don't want to hear the man getting up and going to work. They want to oppress the man, right? They want to provide everything in the household. They want to speak in every place in that household, right? And then they want to accuse the man of not being the husband. They want to accuse the man of not satisfying them in bed. How? How, man? For that man to be able to satisfy you in bed, he needs to be in his rightful role. He needs to play his role. He needs to be in his role. He needs to be empowered in himself, in his role as the husband, so that he can also be able to satisfy you. Because it is the husband who satisfies the wife. How many people? Or how does it go, right? So you cannot expect the husband to be the one to satisfy you, right? And then you cannot expect the husband to be the husband if you're not allowing the husband to be. It cannot be, right? It is not something that is forcing anything. No. These things are working in agreement. It is the wife and the husband need to be in agreement. They work together to build the family. So the wife needs to allow herself to be the wife, right? So that the husband can have his place to be the husband, right? Not invading the place of the husband. The wife or the woman wants to be the one speaking in the house. The woman wants to be the one who is providing in the house. The woman wants to be the one who is solving all the issues in the house. The woman wants to be the one who is going to work and the husband remains at home, or she doesn't want to allow the husband to do anything, and then she wants to accuse the husband. And then she expects the husband is going to be the husband in that house. No, it won't work. It won't work. You see that it is the woman who builds her man to become the man, right? If you're not building your man, then you are just unbuilding, or probably you are not strengthening him. So he is not going to be able to play the role, and you will not be able to accuse him then. So, as women, recognize your fathers, or as children, or as sons or daughters. It is by recognizing your fathers that they be your fathers, right? As women, it is by recognizing your husbands that they become your husbands, and by granting chance to them to become, by allowing them to play in their roles. That is how. So, do not complain. If you're not giving chance to your husband to become the husband, then do not complain that he's not being the husband. Do not complain that he's not satisfying you or giving you conjugal rights. How can he be able to play the role of the husband or the man of the house if you're not allowing him to be the man of the house, right? So, also probably sometimes, probably with experience, you find that with every coming generation, women are feeling as though men are taking advantage of their roles or of their powers that they have in the household. So they are fearing to allow the men to be in their place or to play their roles, because they fear that the men are going to misuse their roles, right? Or that power that has been given to them for being the man of the house. So they have planned and they have gotten to remove the men from their place, or deny the men their role, right? So that they do not misuse their place. But how is that working out, right? You tell me. There are more increasing cases of lesbianism, right? There are more increasing cases of women who are suffering emotionally because they are lacking support from men. You know, probably women may be suffering emotionally, but they are not realizing it is the very thing that they are doing against men that is affecting them. You see, the man being in his place plays a very key role, even in the life of a woman or in the growth of children, right? So you find that there have been a shake-up in the moral fabric or in the fabric of the society, because women have chosen not to allow men to stand in their place. But I think this is a blindness that is coming to them, and they need to stop or snap out of this blindness and allow rightness to be, right? So you cannot afford to listen to people who are saying that, men take advantage of their roles, men are like this and like that. Has your man been like that and like this, right? Why are you listening to propaganda, right? And if you feel as though your man is taking advantage, then pray for him to God. Pray unto God that he might make your man right. But the solution is not by removing the man from his soul. That is destroying the whole order of God, and it's going to bring serious issues, right? That is what is causing what we call identity issues. That is what is causing gayism and lesbianism, because men and women no longer know what they are, whether they're masculine or feminine, right? And the feminine has greatly invaded the masculine. Oh my goodness. Anyway, as a women, do not be afraid for men to stand in their position, for it is the rightness of God. And if you might feel as though they might misuse it, it is not your place. Pray to God that the Lord may make right upon your man, right? And allow your man to be in his role. As a woman, recognize your father, right? Even as children, as sons and daughters, recognize your fathers, because it is beneficial for your growth. It is beneficial for your development. The lack of the father from your life is going to bring on diverse effects, right? As women, recognize your husbands. Allow your husbands to be in their roles, for it is right. It is the order of God. And most of the issues that we are suffering today are going to be evaded, right? But it is not by bringing out our own rightness, which is not. The only rightness that is God's rightness. So let us get back there. And I'm sure we are going to find some saving, right? We are going to find some answers to the many questions, right? And the many disorders we have today. So anyhow, until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow. Thank you.